nukes. He has a covert ops down, so he's hoping, I suppose, to just nuke a base or two and, you know, even out this damage a little bit. But oh, actually, no, I know what he's doing. He's going for lockdown. Obviously, that's the only thing that he can do right now to build fast enough. He needs to get a lot of Goliaths, and he needs to get some ghosts out and research lockdown. So lockdown is likely being researched there, but those carriers do see that science facility, and it looks like they're focusing down on that covert ops, at least for a second there. So that covert ops might go down, and if that happens, then it's going to be a lot of damage because you know, Leader really needs to research something to help him out right now, but these carriers are just wreaking havoc over his main base. It looks like Violet is being able to retake that base over at the 7 o'clock position that was just Lita's, and Violet is in a huge lead right now, and Lita is just doing whatever he can to survive at the moment. Lita, fortunately, he has been able to clear out the northwest base, and he has been able to clear out the base at the 1 o'clock position that Violet had, so he has been able to do a little bit of economic damage, but it is, you know, very unlikely that he's going to be able to build another base of his own just because of this carrier. You know, the carrier army is so mobile, and there are, you know, this is not maybe the best in the world map to use carriers on, just because a lot of the ground in the middle is relatively flat. There's not too many ridges in particular. There's a lot of high ground and low ground, but there's bridges all around there, so it's pretty easy for Goliaths to maneuver around there, and it looks like Lita finally does have a reasonable size army of Goliaths to at least, you know, hold back the carriers for a little bit. Lita going in and trying to kill off this base that Violet made sort of in a celebratory fashion over at the 7 o'clock. Lita's deciding that he is not quite out of this game yet. He is still the Terran defender. He can create bases and defend them from anything, except for maybe all these carriers. And all of these Dragoons accompanied by High Templar that are walking into his third base at the 9 o'clock expansion. So Lita is once again being forced to lift that base at the 9 o'clock. It looks like he has stopped that base at the 1 o'clock position from Violet from going up, and he's also marching into the southeast position as well. So despite taking heavy losses, Lita is going on a counterattack and being somewhat successful in that. He is going to lose his command center that he had at the 9 o'clock position, but he does have a group of Goliaths there that might be able to do a little bit of damage to those carriers, at least hold them off for a little bit longer. And you know, surprisingly, often when you see Protoss going for carriers like this, it's often during that transition phase when they're building up all of these carriers, they end up getting attacked and losing their natural expansion and their main base. And so, you know, those carriers will be the only thing that the Protoss player has left, and which, you know, we call the refugee Protoss, as a refugee carrier army with no base, wandering around killing whatever they please. And it actually, this game is turning somewhat backwards in this late game Protoss versus Terran, and it looks like Lita is going to be the refugee Terran. He has a reasonably sized group of Goliaths and siege tanks wandering around the middle of the map, but his natural expansion, his third expansion, his main base his natural expansion and his third expansion are both dead. His main base is completely infested with carriers and Dragoons and a couple of High Templar. So Lita having no bases, but still a pretty sizable standing army, and I thought that he was just going to go on the counterattack and just try to make this maybe an elimination style game, but it looks like he is going to finally try to defend his main base, and I don't think that's maybe the wisest move. I think he probably could have marched in and taken down the natural and the main base from Violet, in which case this would have really been a pretty true elimination game. He is sending a couple of siege tanks over to take out that 1 o'clock base, but Lita is losing the elimination battle so far. It looks like he has push those carriers out of his base, and really it's actually putting him in a strategic disadvantage, I feel, just because while those carriers were distracted with killing off all of Lita's bases, they weren't there defending Violet's bases. So, oh no, and Violet just barely able to defend that 1 o'clock base, so that Nexus is there with like, it looks like 30 or so hit points. So barely alive, but barely alive is alive enough for Violet. Lita really needed to kill off that base, kill off the natural expansion, and hopefully get into the main base. You know, while those carriers were, like I was saying, while those carriers were in Lita's base, I think he had an opportunity to just wipe out all of the buildings that Violet has as well, and this could have become an elimination battle if he had gotten an SCV out somewhere, maybe just floated a couple buildings and hid them around the map a little bit. But as it stands, Lita with 0 economy right now, after losing his third base, his third and fourth bases, his main and I believe even his natural base have been mined out. And it is just, he is just on his main base, which is mined out now anyways, and like I was saying, his natural probably mined out as well. A couple of Templar in there to try to stop these Goliaths as well, but really there's just too many carriers. When carriers outnumber the Goliaths, that is not a good position for the Terran to be in. You know, Goliaths are very good at anti-air, and that's GG, but like I was saying, Goliath's good against anti-air, but not good enough to take out carriers in greater numbers. Anyways, so Sparkyz being able to take KT all the way down in to the ace match, but not able to finish it out, and that is the end of that. So see you in the next set, which is against STX.